If certain sections of the financial press are to be believed, computers are taking over the world. In fact, so much so that in the relatively short-term future, apparently no one will be receiving financial advice from a human being. We'll all be interacting with a machine on our desktop or on our tablet, which will tell us with great accuracy where we should be investing, how much we should be investing, and how to pay off our mortgage, and all those other wonderfully tedious details of our daily financial life. I'm here to tell you I don't believe that for a second. Nonetheless, automated, algorithm-driven advice is and can be a significant player in the marketplace, but we have to understand what it's for. This is a real crowd splitter. If you read the blogs and columns relating to whether or not robo-advice is a good thing, it appears to me that we have in the one camp the Luddites, who absolutely do not believe that anything that is driven by a computer program can ever deliver the nuanced and sensitive to individual circumstance type of advice that a human being can deliver. On the other camp, you have the fanatics who wish to burn down the factories and take over the world with their algorithms, who believe that that is precisely what it will do, and as a result they'll drive down costs to the point where this will be virtually free advice to everyone. The truth, of course, is somewhere in the middle. The fact is that for higher value individuals, I don't think there will ever be a situation where a computer program can deliver the sort of quality of advice that deals with the emotional as well as the financial goals of an individual or family. And that's a really important part of dealing with long-term financial planning, is understanding and emoting with the individual's goals. On the other hand, that's an expensive process. And most people who are entering the world of savings simply can't afford that level of engagement from somebody that high level of qualification. I see robo-advice, as it's called, essentially providers like Nutmeg and various others in the marketplace, as a superb way of getting a younger generation, millennials particularly, engaged with the process of saving and investing, where the costs are really low to them, the barriers to entry are really low. But of course, it doesn't mean they're always going to be robo-advice customers, because when they have built up sufficient assets through that simplified process, they will naturally become the target audience for the face-to-face advisory community. There is a really strong parallel to what's happening in robo-financial advice to what's happening in access to finance for small business, for the small business community, where what we find is that the sites that are algorithm driven, like Alternative Business Funding, in which we operate, have a perfectly smooth and human-free journey for a large proportion of those businesses transiting through that site, where you simply don't need a person involved in it, and it's delivering a slick, low-cost outcome to the individual seeking funding. The moment it gets more complex, the moment it gets more viable, if we can call it that an individual has to get involved, it automatically switches over to a team of real people who can advise on a suitable outcome. I see the world of financial advice, face-to-face financial advice, following exactly that trajectory. And in fact, the fact that the likes of Nutmeg have now introduced a layer of humans into their process rather than remaining purist and simply saying you can only ever talk to a computer, tells us that there is a series of stages through which individuals need to go, and by creating the lower value end of the chain, by actually financial advisors adopting robo-advice as part of their overall client offering, they're not actually reducing their overall connection to the public, they're massively increasing it. Because if you can facilitate someone saving at a lower level earlier on, they're going to come back and find you when their assets are at a level that needs a human intervention. So my view, ignoring robo-advice or saying it's a bad thing, unbelievably short-sighted. It's actually a way of massively extending your customer base, those people that you can touch, those people that you want to transact business with in 5 or 10 or 15 years' time. If you have a plan to be in this industry over the long term, it is something that you must now build into your customer offering set.